What's going on, Brian? So, are you mad at me or something?
I mean, you took forever to get here.
Hey, I'm Banker's hours here. Come on.
Apparently.
All right, so I made it. Don't give me that big of a hard time. But is that the same 389 that we test drove the other day?
No, that's a different truck.
Oh, it is?
We just got this one in and fixing to start taking it apart to do some work to it.
All right, so thanks to FITZGERALD guys and Brian. We brought the Cabover up here. We've been having a ton of issues with the air compressor lately, not wanting to build pressure, not holding pressure, and doing all kinds of weird stuff. You follow us on Instagram, Bruce_D_Wilson. So we just picked up a new air compressor for it. And you guys at FITZGERALD Truck Parts have a ton, like a metric ton of Detroit stuff in stock.
Yes, we have a lot of Detroit stuff. We had actually the parts you needed over at our warehouse, so we run them over this way.
Yeah, so even though we don't have a Peterbilt, guys, and a Freightliner, we do have a Detroit in it. We got our Detroit air compressor. Oh, is that it over there on the bench?
That is it.
I see it. Okay, cool. So what we're gonna be doing is putting the air compressor on today. We've got a new Is that 2 windshields?
I think it's 2.
I only needed 1. What have you done? Oh my gosh. Okay.
I told him 2. I told him 2 because if you replace the one side, it's gonna look better than the other side.
All right.
So you might as well do both.
You say so. Well, we've got 2 windshields we're gonna put in the truck because you guys have been giving me the hardest time about the passenger side being busted. So we're gonna get those replaced. So we got Andy with Liberty Auto Glass here, guys. He's gonna work on putting the glass in the truck. And while he's doing that, we're gonna get a tour of the shop here and go from there. So what do we need to do with the truck now that we made it?
I would probably pull it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pull it in or back it in?
Whatever you want to do.
You want to back it in?
No, you can do it.
Okay, I'll back it in.
All right.
So we got the truck pulled in the shop, guys, and first things first, Andy here asked if we could tilt the cab forward and make it a little bit easier for him to get to the glass. We've actually got to tilt it forward anyways to change the air compressor out. So we're gonna work on getting this thing jacked up and getting these pieces of glass swapped out. Can we see the new ones you got for us?
They're right there in the back of the truck.
So you had to special order these, or were they hard to get a hold of?
Oh, they were hard to go.
Okay, cool. It's gonna be night and day difference driving with new glass in this thing. This stuff's old. Oh, that was quick. Guys, I missed him pulling out the first windshield. Where'd it go?
Huh?
Where's the old one at?
It's right here.
Oh, dang. All right. Well, he's got one out. I'm gonna set a time lapse up. You guys can watch him do the rest, put the new ones back in. So there we are, guys. We finally got the new passenger side window replaced, and we went ahead and got the driver's side replaced. Shout out to FITZGERALD for letting us use this shop to get them installed, and Brian and Amber for being patient. So, tell us about this shop. We need a tour. And tell us about what you're doing with the 389 over there.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
Start with, your glass looks really good.
Okay. You got a nice glass.
You have a nice glass. I like your glass. So this shop is kind of like a little hidden gem. Nobody really comes around here a whole lot. So we can kind of come over here, work on some trucks, make some new parts, and kind of develop some things for some trucks we're building right now.
Okay.
Over here, we'll just follow me. I'll show you a little bit. This is pretty neat. So we call this our Fab Shop. Essentially, over here, we make all kinds of cool stuff for trucks or not for trucks. Make whatever you want because we have a laser table.
Yeah, I'm looking at that thing. That thing looks like something from the future.
Yeah. So we've got this laser. It's a really awesome tool to have because you can sit down on the computer, you can design the part out, you can run it in the machine, and you can have it back out here in just a few minutes. You can walk over to the truck, see if it fits, make any adjustments you want to do, and the possibilities of what you're able to do are endless, and it's fast.
Well, pretty much about anything custom.
I mean, anything. You can. We got a bunch of metal over here.
And this right here is where you design. I've seen this in a couple of your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Speaking of
YouTube videos, we just dropped a YouTube video today.
So they just dropped the video today on
FITZGERALD USA.
On their YouTube channel, guys. Go check that out. I'll put a link in the description. You can follow that YouTube channel or all the builds that'll be happening inside this shop right here. From this 389, you're gonna be doing a video on that one, right?
Yeah, we just pulled this one in.
That one's fresh from the dealership, right?
This morning. Yeah, we pulled it in this morning. We'll actually probably start taking that apart. I think while you're working on your truck, I'm gonna probably start pulling parts off of this thing.
And this isn't the same one we drove, but it's almost the exact same spec.
It is. It is the exact same spec as the truck we drove the other day, but it's not the same truck.
Okay. And y'all are gonna do what? What are you doing to it?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
I can say that, so the thought process now is black fenders all the way across down here. It's gonna be black, so we'll do black painted cabin sleeper panels on it.
Lights.
Visor, lights, all that other stuff.
Lots of lights?
Lots of lights for sure. We'll end up doing painted tanks. So these will get painted. I'll put a Roadworks depth cover over that and paint it to match. We're gonna build our own deck plate that'll go in here, and the deck plate will basically smooth straight across, so the frame will almost look like one whole piece going all the way up under the sleeper this way. Shock box covers, they're coming off, so we just have a nice clean frame down here. We'll end up painting this whole frame on the back half just to make it a little better. But the factory paint's great, but when we're doing some of these trucks, we like to paint the back half of the frame the same color because you can get a two-stage paint. It just looks a lot nicer. And it's easier to keep clean. I don't know, we'll put fenders on it. We really just kind of pulled it in and we'll start pulling the parts off and then we'll figure it out from there.
So if you guys want to see the build on this, go to their YouTube channel. They'll start updating that with videos. They're gonna shoot for at least once a week.
The goal is once a week. At first it might be every 2 weeks till we kind of get the ball rolling, but we're definitely gonna be putting a lot of videos out. You'll see what's happening with this truck pretty soon.
So this shop right here, the purpose of it is so that they can build trucks without no one messing with them to custom specs. If you guys call these guys up, tell them, I want this truck, I want this paint, I want all this done, that happens right here where no one's distracted. All the work gets done, everything gets focused on, and Brian, he has no one bothering him because he needs his time alone. So that's what happens in the shop, guys. If you want to see everything that happens, like I said, go over their YouTube channel, check it out, and you can see the and you can see the build process on this 389. So what we're gonna do now is get back to work on mine. We've got this new air compressor. We got it from FITZGERALD Parts, and it's for the Detroit, and we're gonna get this one ripped off. And while I'm over here working on ripping that off, Brian, he's playing mechanic today. He went to the Snap-on truck, picked everything out, said I need all this. we know it's his first time working on a truck. Look how new these tools look.
I mean, they're a little used.
You better not put that chrome sock on an impact, I'm not telling you.
I do it all the time. Like, they have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna work on getting the air compressor pulled off my truck. He's gonna work on tearing some of this stuff off the Peterbilt, and we're gonna do some destruction. So first things first, guys, we got the cab jacked up, and right here is the air compressor for not for the AC, but for the air braking system and all that stuff. The fuel pump that runs the injectors is on the back of it. So what we're gonna do is find a drain pan, get under here, and start unhooking the air lines, the coolant lines, and the breather lines, and all that stuff, and get this thing snatched out of here. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright guys, so I got everything undone from this air compressor. This thing has to be the original with a ton of miles, because I gotta take the breaker bar or pry bar and bounce this thing loose, get it come off. But I've got everything off, and it should. I've got our coolant lines pinched off so we don't lose coolant. Hopefully they'll come right off here. Alright, this thing should come right out now. Son of a mother. It's the first time I've ever done an air compressor on a semi. Time to wash my hands and get a drink. And clean up our mess. I just took some. Alright guys, so we got the old nasty compressor off. This thing has to be the original. As hard as it was to get off of there, I mean, there's no telling how old it is. And we're going to go ahead and replace the air governor. We're going to run up to Byrdstown here in Tennessee at FITZGERALD's other plant. And they said they've got one on the shelf. So we're gonna grab a new one of those and put on it while we've got it off, because it'd be a good idea to do it. So what we gotta do is, you see all these fittings that are on this air compressor. These right here are the coolant fittings, which keep this thing cool from overheating while it's building air pressure, because higher air pressure creates a lot of heat. So what we've got right here is the intake for the air compressor, where it takes air straight from the intake manifold on the engine. We've got the outtake on the engine, on the air compressor, where it builds air pressure, and then we've got the oil feed right here, which pressurizes the bottom of this air compressor with oil. So we're gonna get all this stuff transferred over to the new one, and plug off certain ports that aren't being used, like this one right here. There's a plug in the top of that air compressor we're gonna put back on the top of this one, and get this thing taken care of. So guys, we're swapping all the parts off the air compressor, and you can see we've got the new intake put on there. And I wanted to go ahead and pull the head off of the air compressor, and you guys can see what's going on. And absolutely just wow. Look at that rear piston. I don't know if I got an air to turn it with. Here we go. You can see this thing wasn't doing jack crap. Cylinder walls are scored super bad. And there's something like down in here maybe. And you can see where that came apart and actually just bounced around in here and just destroyed this air compressor. Wow. We'll turn this a little bit more and we can see if we can see the... Go. See that one right there isn't even moving.
That's not good?
No, it's not good. This air compressor is shot. It was getting dangerous. See how whenever we're moving the pliers over here, this piston doesn't even move. Real bad shape. So we're gonna have an insane difference in air pressure on the truck. What's next? Chrome before all these other parts. This is why I should have listened to all you guys and put all those other parts and money into it first before we put chrome on it. Y'all guys were right, I was wrong. So I decided to go ahead and pull the bottom of the air compressor off, because I like learning how things work. And you guys can see inside here, there's a little tiny crankshaft and rods and pistons just like a normal engine. And basically the rod bearings in this one are shot, and that back piston right there are gone. This thing is just total junk. But we're gonna put it back together because it does have a core charge. And I pulled the fuel pump off the back of it. It spins nice and free, and obviously it pumps fuel no problem. But the little spider here, which is like a little nylon cluster, is no more, no good. So it fell apart when I pulled it out. So Tommy and Brian are headed to the other parts place in Byrdstown, the other FITZGERALD plant, and they're gonna see if they got a fuel pump and one of these little plastic nylon spiders there, so we can get this thing back together. We are going to go ahead and get the new air compressor put on there and get all that done, because we can do all this other stuff with the fuel pump and whatnot after it's on there. So guys, like I was telling you, when we pulled the fuel pump off the back of the air compressor, the little nylon coupling in here. I call it like a spider, I don't know what you call it. Just completely fell apart, and that's what happens to them over time when they get really old. And this, like I said, is probably the original fuel pump. On these engines, they don't really have injection pumps. They've got a, I wouldn't say a high pressure fuel pump. It makes like 60 to 70 PSI. And what that does, that sends pressure up to the injectors to make the injectors work, and the cam actually builds high pressure for the fuel injection. So we got a brand new Detroit diesel. I already got it a little dirty because my hands are nasty, but original part here, remanufactured fuel pump here with all the fittings that are actually on it. It's got a sensor built into it. We might use that sensor at a later date with a brand new spider. We got a new gasket. So we're gonna go ahead and get this put on the air compressor on the truck. And we'll walk over here now. I've got the new air compressor already on the truck, bolted up. We got the old gasket that was in there. It was all nasty, cleaned up. And you can see that new air compressor's in there. So we're gonna get the fuel pumps put on the back of it and get it tightened down, and then get our new air governor, which we got also. All right, so I got our hardware here, and they're little 12-point bolts. This fuel pump goes right on the back of the air compressor down in here, behind all this good stuff. So let's see if we can get it set down in there very carefully without getting any more dirt in it. And keep that gasket in place. All right. So another thing I was thinking about was this thing had not like a lot of blow by, but a little bit of blow by. And more and more I thought about it, if that piston inside that air compressor being completely shot like it was, that would cause a lot of air pressure to be built up inside the crankcase also. So we're gonna start this thing up, and it should have a lot less blow by than it did before. There's one. We got the rest of these bolts. Bring it over here. So we're gonna get the rest of these bolts put in here on this fuel pump and get it tightened down, get the fuel lines hooked up, and we'll put the air governor on, which bolts up right there. And what the air governor does, I'll explain that in a second. So up next we've got what's called an air governor, and what this does, it controls letting, while the air compressor on that engine doesn't have a clutch, it stays running all the time and never stops while the engine's running. So if that thing never stopped, we had no way of shutting it, the air pressure it builds off, it would just blow up because it would build too much pressure. And what this does, once it reaches a certain pressure in here, a valve moves and lets the air pressure that the air compressor is building bypass. So the old air governor will just look pretty nasty, and we figured they're so inexpensive, we'll just go ahead and put a new one on it. My hands are dirty, so it's already dirty, but that's what we've got. So we got a new gasket right here, and we're gonna get this new air governor put on the back of the air compressor. So this bolts up right here on the back of the air compressor, and I have put that coolant freaking hose right in the dang way. I'm tired of this, Grandpa! The Amber sounds like. So we got the compressor on here, the air governor, new fuel pump, basically everything here is all brand new. And we're gonna get our tools cleaned up. We're gonna get our tools all cleaned up, put them over there on the bench, get everything out of the way, and then start it up. See this thing, this mother is building some air pressure.
You're gonna get your tools all
I'll make sure, no, you're gonna help. Look at your arm, it's already dirty.
I'll wash it off.
And see if this thing starts up and builds some air pressure, and we've got to top it off the coolant because we did lose a little bit of coolant even though I had the coolant lines pinched off. So let's start it up. There we go, guys. Got this thing started up. The air compressor's in there pumping, building air pressure up, and so far so good. We're gonna get our mess cleaned up, get it pulled out of shop. Shout out to FITZGERALD. See this mess cleaned up. Hey, what are you doing?
Cleaning up your mess.
Oh, really? Well, guys, that's a wrap for today's video. The air compressor's on there. It builds air compression. Builds air pressure, no problem. Everything. Oh, there you go. You see it's building air pressure. Our brand new air dryer is working great. It doesn't bleed off air pressure anymore. I went ahead and topped it off with coolant because we did lose a bit of coolant changing the air compressor. What we're doing now is we're actually going to be loading up and getting ready to head down to, dang it, somewhere in central Tennessee again, Sweetwater, Tennessee, and see my buddy Josh Watson. We're going to be hauling some soybeans tomorrow with the Cabover and then headed home. And I just got a confirmation on a sick aluminum drop deck trailer we're going to be picking up Friday in Florida. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Go to FITZGERALD USA. on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description below. Check them out. Let's jack their subscribers all the way up and see all these sick builds. We'll be coming up here to Tennessee quite often from now on, guys. We're actually looking for a house up here. It's kind of like mine and Amber's dream location to live up here in Tennessee. So very, very pumped to find a house right up here in Crossville, Tennessee. And the drag strip's right here, local. Tons of cool stuff. And Fitzgerald, we can hang out with these guys. So we'll be back up here at their shop doing a lot more stuff with them filming and all that goodness. So make sure you smash the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe, guys. And be looking for us to be hauling some soybeans very, very soon. And yeah, we'll be checking out one of these Peterbilts very soon. You gotta get to Fitzgerald USA on Instagram to 10,000 followers, guys. Go get them there and go subscribe to them on YouTube. Catch you later. Peace.